We begin here in the UK, and within days of being brought in as the new Chancellor of the Exchequer, Jeremy Hunt has scaled back the government's energy bill support scheme, and he's also reversed nearly all of the tax cuts in the so-called mini-budget, which was unveiled by his predecessor Kwasi Kwarteng last month. Hunt says UK Prime Minister Liz Truss has agreed that it would be wrong to make such a long-term spending commitment on energy bills when it's unclear what will happen to prices in the future. He says there will then be a review and a more targeted system will be put in place. The announcement leaves Liz Truss's initial economic strategy in tatters.
I have therefore decided to keep the increase in corporation tax that was planned by the previous government.
Now, for more on this, our correspondent Alex Isat is joining us live from London. Alex, just walk us through what's still left from that mini-budget that was announced by Kwasi Kwarteng and what's been taken out.
Well, we were expecting to hear about a lot of the reversal of the cuts, as they actually haven't gone through Parliament yet, so they're not in legislation. So we were expecting them. We weren't expecting, though, to keep the stamp duty, although I do understand that that actually has gone for the first step towards getting that legislation, and hence that's why it's being kept. But the 1p cut rate is gone, national insurance is staying. And so we weren't so surprised about what we were hearing, because the markets were completely spooked when the former Chancellor had his mini budget. And again, they weren't calming at all when he had his new 45p tax cut. So what we weren't expecting, though, was this huge change about the energy price cuts. Now, we were expecting that to go on for 2 years, and in fact, Liz Truss had her whole platform based around these tax cuts about the energies and helping with the cost of living for the next 2 years. And any time she was questioned, she did say that she was going to be helping the people of the United Kingdom, specifically bringing up the fact that she had got in place that there's going to be this price freeze and there's going to be a cap. But Jeremy Hunt today said, well, no, actually, it's only going to be until April, and then we're going to check the volatility of the markets, because ultimately he was saying that we can't keep borrowing. We need that money. It needs to come from somewhere. And of course, he mentioned that the taxes that will still be implemented, that were on not just Boris Johnson's government, but were suggested by Rishi Sunak, that may bring in about £32 billion to the economy, which is desperately needed, which is comparison to the former Chancellor, who said that it's likely we may be borrowing up to £60 billion. So it does seem that the markets had a little, not potentially sigh of relief, but they were now trying to figure out what is the next step. We didn't get any real in-depth into a lot of the other changes. Jeremy Hunt did mention that he was going to be speaking at Parliament later today, and also he said that he's made a lot of decisions. So it's quite interesting, really, when we look at what he said and how he said it, that he does seem to be de facto in charge in this statement. He came off quite professionally as well. So it would be for people watching from outside, if they didn't know Liz Truss is our Prime Minister, potentially that they would have thought that Jeremy Hunt was speaking on her behalf for the whole country.
And Alex, as you mentioned, we've seen Liz Truss having to sack her Chancellor within the first month of her being in office. She's now having to make a complete U-turn on her economic strategy. How precarious is her situation right now?
Well, there is a civil war going on within the Conservative Party membership, and it's not being behind closed doors. 4 MPs now have come out and they said they want Liz Truss gone. 100 backbenchers of the Tory parties apparently have written a letter that they want to try and oust her. The question is, what exactly does she now bring? She kept on doubling down from the very moment that she got into the winning contest, that she was doing all this for energy, to help cost of living, but she was really into economic growth, and she was really behind all of these changes to all of the taxes. So she kept on doubling down on that. And now that Jeremy Hunt has come out and has made very much sweeping changes, even to her backbone policy with the price freeze itself. What is Liz Truss's purpose? Really, she doesn't seem to be in charge. She is going to be speaking to the cabinet members later. Supposedly, she had a conversation at 10 a.m. with some of her members. But it does seem that she has lost a lot of control. And if she does get ousted, she will be the shortest Prime Minister in history. But of course, all these factions that are going on within the Tory parties aren't actually doing the Conservatives any favours themselves. They may be trying to speak up for the constituents who want more answers to their questions. What exactly is going to be done with the cost of living? When do we know that taxes are going to come down? What about inflation? What about mortgages? What about market rates? But ultimately, they are giving Labour a great chance of potentially winning and also potentially calling a general election. And if that general election does happen anytime within the next couple of months, the polls suggest that Labour will be the ones that get into power. So they should be quite careful. The members who are speaking out against Liz Truss, what did they really see happening? If they keep arguing, they didn't want Boris Johnson, they got rid of him. Then now they don't want Liz Truss. So they're going to keep doing this. Are they ever going to be content with any Prime Minister that comes in? They do really need to be careful whether or not Liz Truss is going to be able to even push a single one of her policies forward. You have to think about the wider implications for the Conservative Party.